Hey everybody, Ms. Dietrich, we're looking at number 4. A toy company is packing its toys to be shipped. Some of the toys are placed inside a cube-shaped box with side lengths of 3.5. These boxes are then packed into a shipping box with dimensions of 14 inches by 7 inches by 3.5 inches. How many toys can be packed into the larger box for shipping? And part B, use the number of toys that can be shipped in the box to help determine the volume of the box. All right, so I tried to draw the shipping box, and I tried to recreate the little toy boxes, which I have represented here in blue. So remember that the side lengths on this thing, that means that this length right here that I just highlighted in yellow would be 3.5 inches. So we have to basically figure out how many of these things can we fit going across. How many can we fit going across? So that's really a division question, right? We're trying to figure out how many equal groups of 3.5 do we have in 14. So we could just use simple division to figure that out. If we do 14 divided by 3.5, that's the same thing as 14 divided by the improper fraction equivalent for this would be 7/2. And recall that when we divide, it's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal of the divisor. So we're really looking at 14 times 2/7. We can simplify. Let's take advantage of the fact that 7 is a factor of both this numerator and this denominator. If we divide by 7 here, we get a 1. If we divide by 7 here, we get a 2. And if we go ahead and do 2 times 2, that equals 4. 1 times 1 equals 1. And 4 divided by 1 equals 4. So we're able to get 4 going across. What about going this way? How many cubes can we fit going this way? We're really taking 7 and we're dividing it by 3.5. So let's take a look at what that would look like. 7 divided by 3.5, which is the same thing as 7 divided by, as an improper fraction, this would be 7/2. That's the same thing as 7 times the reciprocal of this, which would be 2/7. And same thing, we have that lovely opportunity here to pre-reduce, I call that. So we can divide by 7 and get 1, divide by 7 and get 1. 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 divided by 1 is 2. So we can fit 2 going this way. So I have that modeled here. See, here's the first one, here's the second one. It's 2 of the cubes going this way, it's 4 of the cubes going this way. And when we think about what's 3.5, how many times can we fit that? Right? If the height of this thing is 3.5, and we're figuring out what's 3.5 divided by 3.5, anytime you're dividing a number by itself, then you're always going to get 1. But you can see that we're only going to be able to stack 1 going up, right? Because if this is 3.5 in height, if one of these blue cubes is 3.5 in height, then it's not as though we're going to be able to stack additional ones on top, right? All right, so here's what we're looking at here. We can fit 4 going across that way, 2 going across that way, and 1 this way. So how many of these blue toy boxes are we talking about if we count them up? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So the answer to part A is we're talking about 8 toy boxes. All right, so if there's 8 toy boxes, then how is that going to help us to find the volume of the box? Now, we do have 2 ways to find the volume of the box. One way is to just go ahead and apply the original numbers to the volume formula, which is length times width times height. Volume equals, and the length of this thing is 14. Let's write that down and substitute that in for the L. The width of this thing, if you recall, is 7. So let's plug that in. And the height is 3.5. So I'm going to put it in as a decimal just because it'll be easier to do that on the calculator. And these are really multiplication signs here. All right, so let's take out the calculator and multiply these numbers together. So we have 14 times 7 times 3 and 5/10, which is equal to 3.5. And we get this number. Volume equals 343. And that's going to be, I think it was inches, right? Let's double check. It's inches, so we're looking at cubic inches when we're talking about volume. So we would write inches and then use an exponent of 3, or write the word cubic in front of inches. Now, is there another way to do this? Yes. What's the other way we could do it? Because they did want us to use this number to help us figure out the volume. So what's that method? Well, that method is the idea that if we first find the volume of the small box, in other words, if we knew that this is 3.5 by 3.5 by 3.5, and we knew that the volume of that was 42 7/8 inches, then we could take that number and multiply it by 8 to get the same number we just got. So either method will work, but the answer to part B is 343 cubic inches.